Hey Troy, I'm gonna demonstrate some stuff right here. So I have a yellow gun, okay, and I have this target right here. Uh, I situated this target here so that I can demonstrate with this fault line right here. And what I'll do is I'll just kind of pretend that there's a wall here, okay, that I can use to basically kind of block the view of this target up until I get to right here. But you can also see what I'm doing if I'm coming from this position as well. Now, why is it a big deal, right? Why is it a big deal that we think about how we enter and exit positions? Why is movement a big deal? Because when it comes down to just accuracy, when you get up to you know, expert and master and distinguished master, um, that's really where the game is going to be played the most. Um, if you're coming out of 9, 10, 12 stages and you have basically, like, it depends on kind of the match. I'm not really going to put a blanket statement on it on how many points down you should have. You should really strive for 0. I might give up 1 or 2 for on a particular instance, but when it comes down to just a flat stage with no movers, there's no reason why you shouldn't just have zeros. Um, Whoever's going to win that stage is whoever can do it the quickest. And when you're getting up to like expert, master, distinguished master, the accuracy is going to be just about the same for anybody. Where you're going to really make up most of your time is speed. And what I mean by speed is, how effectively you can move through the stage itself, along with the shooting. And so there's a couple ways you can do that. Um, like just in between the shots that you're already taking. So, and what I mean is, but like, I'm really going to break it down to 3 areas. One area is um, break foot, stop foot. The second area is having your gun up, and the third area is having your hips oriented correctly. Okay, and that's really where the core of your movement is going to be. That's how you're going to be able to get the same shot placement, but sooner, and that's what wins matches. So during your walkthrough, when you first walk through that stage, when everybody says, "Hey, your walkthrough begins now," or whatever have you, and keep in mind this right here is where my fault line is. I put it on some carpet so that it doesn't slip. What you really want to do is when you see this target and you know that you're going to engage this target from this fault line, there's 2 questions you need to ask yourself. How do I want to come into this target, and how do I want to leave this target? And the ideal way is you come in, pop, pop, and you leave, right? And it should be just kind of seamless to where you barely even have to stop. Okay, like the only reason you stopped was to change directions from inside of this fault line. So if we can come in seamlessly, we can leave seamlessly. And the most seamless way to come in is a concept that got introduced to me by Keith Tyler, and it's called break foot, stop foot. So if you can see where my feet are, right, and you look and see where this fault line is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to position my feet in the way that I want this fault line to be at. And I'm going to mark my position on this target. And well, not my position on the target really. I'm gonna work from this side. I'm gonna look down and see where my feet need to be in order for me to engage this target. Like I can really kind of see it from here. So I don't really have to like get a super lean. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adjust it just a little bit so that I do have to lean. I want to work on that lean. And so I come in, I give it a couple of pops, pop, pop. It's gonna have to be well placed because I'm dealing with like a a hard cover target. And then I want to leave. I want to explode out of the position. So I'm not just looking at where my foot needs to be. I'm looking at where my back foot is as well. Like I'm looking down at these feet. I'm looking down and I'm marking the position. So right here, what I'm seeing is with my foot right here on the fault line, this back foot is basically at the back of the carpet. So, and what I want is once I make the decision that the very next time this foot steps down, I want to step down in that spot. And what I'm going to do is, as I'm coming in, as this foot is lifting up, I'm going to look down at this target, at this right here, this spot right here. This spot right here is my target for my foot. And if my brake foot can hit that spot, then my stop foot will be on the fault line. And I don't even have to, the only time I have to look is once I make the decision, hey, this next time this foot comes down, it's going to be on that spot. And so here I am running in, and I'm going to practice this a couple of times. I'm looking up, I'm running in, and now at this point, the next time my foot comes down, it's going to come down right there. And then once I've made that decision, once I've seen that spot, even for a second, from here, I'm going to be focused on the target. Pop, pop. Okay. And let me break that down to about 1/4 of the speed. So I'm running in, and I want to step there, and I'm looking down at that spot. Once I've decided to step there, my next look is going to be up at the target. And so as I'm looking at the target, and as my sights are basically pointing at the wall that I cannot see through, by the way, I can't see through that wall. I can't see through this cabinet right here. Once this target appears, I'm going to engage it with 2 shots. Pop, pop. Now, what I need to do is I need to judge right here. Okay, was this good footing? And if there was more fault line here, yes, I would be okay. And what I find myself doing is I'm able to, once I've made the decision that I'm going to put my foot right there at this spot, if I judge it correctly, it's going to take some practice for you to judge it. So, you know, throughout the class, we're going to practice that. If I judge this correctly, that would be my brake foot. Just like if you were coming to a stop sign in your car, this will be my brake foot. And the next step would be my stop foot. And notice how it actually stops on the fault line. And I don't really have to be looking down at the fault line in order for me to get it there. That's the reason why we're doing all this. So that at this point, once this foot comes down, once my brake foot comes down, I can have my sights on the target. I still can't see it yet. It's on the other side of this cabinet. And then once it comes into view, I can pop, pop, and both of those are zeros. And now I can get out of there. So that's why we have a brake foot and a stop foot. And so let me demonstrate that from this position. During my walkthrough, and we're going to put this in my pretend holster. During my walkthrough, I'm going to decide, okay, my feet need to be right here in order for me to do what I need to do. And this foot is going to be on the very edge of this carpet right here where you see it. I need my brake foot to plant right there. And my stop foot is going to be here. So let's try that. I'm going to come in. I see my brake foot. Actually, let's do this right here. I see my brake foot, stop foot, pop, pop, and then I get to leave. Okay? So, and we're doing that for 2 reasons. Number one, we want as little conscious thought devoted to our movement as possible. I'm going to demonstrate, and I'm going to explain later on in the class, how your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and your self-image fit into all this. But I want as little conscious thought devoted to this as possible. Okay? I want to offload that work to my subconscious. I really want to be running this stage for my subconscious. The only thing I want to consciously be thinking about is the spots on the target where I want the sights to be. And if I can offload that, things are going to flow a lot smoother. And so once I've decided, hey, that right there is going to be my brake foot. So now I have brake foot, stop foot, and it automates where my feet are going to be. My feet are already in the optimal position. And now I can pop, pop, and I can get out of here. Okay? So that's one thing. Another thing that's really going to save you time, and I see this a lot with shooters. I see it a lot. I'm going to demonstrate it from this position. What will happen is they'll get their feet right here where they need to be, and they could be shooting right here, but the gun is still down here. So they see the target, and then they bring the gun up. They have to line up the sights, and they have to press the trigger, pop, pop. and then they can leave. You can have those sights up on target before you even clear the wall using the break foot, stop foot. Sights are up, break foot, stop foot, pop, pop. I'm still on this side of the fault line. Was it perfect footing? It wasn't perfect, but it was legal, and it was enough for me to pop, pop. I got 2 zeros. Okay, demonstrating it from this side. Coming through, I got my break foot, stop foot, pop, pop, and now I can leave. That's a lot better than getting right here and then having to bring the sights up. It doesn't look like a whole lot, but it'll save you a second or two. Now, one last thing that's going to help out with movement, and this video is already at 11 minutes, but one thing that's really going to help out with movement is orienting your hips and your knees correctly. You want your hips to have soft knees, or you want your knees to have soft knees, okay? And you want your hips to be oriented in the direction that you want to go. Like if you know that I'm going to leave this position and go this way, I don't want my hips oriented this way. I kind of want my hips oriented this way. I want my hips oriented this way. Or really just kind of in the middle somewhere. And the reason why is I can get the shots that I need right here, pop, pop, and then I can just leave. Okay, all I need to do is push off with this foot and then lead with this foot. Just pop, pop, and I'm ready to go. Way too often people leave positions. They exit positions very impractically. Okay, what they'll do is they'll have this twinkle toes kind of action going on. And then when they try to leave, they're off balance. So now they got to regain their balance by either letting gravity help them out, or what they have to do is they have to drop step. And both of those take up way more time than actually just stepping out of the position. Okay, and you can do that by just pointing your hips in the direction you want to go and just leaving. So just to recap, we got break foot, stop foot, keep the gun up. Doesn't have to be perfectly lined up, but keeping the gun up here, even if it's not perfect sight alignment and sight picture, keeping the gun up here is always going to be better than carrying the gun down here until you see the target and then you line up your sights. Okay? Doing it on the move is always going to be faster. And you're not sacrificing any shot placement with that. Once you're here, using this target right here, because I can't see it until I actually until I get past the cabinet. Can't see it. Now I can see it. Pop, pop. As opposed to can't see it. Now I can see it. Line up. Pop, pop. So having the gun up already, up and on target, and then once you can even have a finger on the trigger. Honestly, like if the gun is oriented towards the target, you can even have your finger on the trigger, and that's typically what I do. By the time I decide, hey, once I see this target, I'm going to shoot. Pop, pop. You're already there, ready to do it. It's going to be your preference whether your finger is straight or your finger is on the trigger. And typically, if I'm moving around, if I'm still moving, I really don't lose any. I don't lose any time to move around with my finger off the trigger until I've decided that I'm going to shoot. I'm going to demonstrate that from this position. Like once I've decided that I'm going to pop, pop, I don't lose any time with having my finger on the trigger. So what I generally do is until I actually see the target, once I see the 0, I'm going to have my finger straight until, where is it? There it is, pop, pop. And now I'm back to my finger straight. So looking at my finger. Like looking at my finger, okay, where is it? There it is, pop, pop, and then finger straight. So that's what I'm talking about here. So just to recap, break foot, stop foot, you want to plan that in your walkthrough. You want to know where those break foots are for every shooting position. And you want to keep in mind, you want to have lean, but not so much lean that you find yourself vastly off balance. One thing that's going to help you maintain balance is having soft knees. And one thing that's going to help you exit positions is orienting your hips to make it easy for you to exit positions. And that's something you can plan on your walkthrough. I plan my walkthrough just about as much, if not more, than the order I'm going to shoot the targets and when I plan my reload. All of that goes into it. It really, really goes into it. So I'm gonna send this to you. It's a big video, so I'm probably gonna have to upload it to YouTube and send you a link. Let me know what you think. Okay, shoot me a text message. You got my number.